morning, everybody. Can I get you, please, to be seated? And you are welcome to start your breakfast. Feed your brain. Your brain needs glucose. All right. It's wonderful to be here with you for the power of speech. Before we begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I acknowledge the Ngunnawal people of the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and recognise any other people or families that have a connection to the lands of the ACT and this region. I pay my respects to elders past and present and acknowledge and respect their continuing culture, heritage and connection to country and language. I also want to say I'm sorry. I also welcome warmly and acknowledge any Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. So, my name is Professor Jenny Brand-Miller. It's such a pleasure to be with you this morning. Thank you for coming, such an early hour. This is the 2025 Power of Speech event. And I'm a nutrition scientist, but I'm not going to watch what you eat. You are welcome, because the first rule of nutrition is enjoy it. So, I have personally experienced the hearing loss journey. I have 2 cochlear implants, and my life is a miracle because of these cochlear implants. They changed my life, literally. So later today, I'm going to share my story with you in a fireside chat, minus the fire, with Dick Howard, from the CEO of Cochlear. So this year's theme is the power of my team. It celebrates the incredible people who make each child's journey possible. It includes their families, clinicians, their teachers, audiologists, and all the supporters, as well as the brilliant technology which brings sound to life. So a heartfelt thank you to Cochlear for sponsoring this event and the ones in the past for their ongoing commitment to innovation and to helping children and adults around the world to access sound communication and opportunity. So it's a powerful reminder that when care and technology and community come together, everyone can find their voices. Right from the start, newborns, and they will truly thrive. So, next, just a few housekeeping notes. Please switch off your phones or put them to silent so we can enjoy hearing from our very young speakers without interruption. You're very welcome to take photos during this event, but we ask you to avoid using your flash when the children are speaking. So today's event is also being live streamed, and if you'd like to share the experience with your families and friends, colleagues, the link's available in the program. And a big hello to those who are joining us online this morning. We also have live captions and an Auslan interpreter to ensure everyone can fully experience and enjoy this event today. So if you'd prefer to follow the captions on your phone, please just scan the QR code that's printed in your program. So to officially open this event, it's my very real pleasure to welcome the Honourable Mark Butler, MP. So Minister Butler has been a very passionate advocate for improving access to healthcare and early intervention for families across Australia. So please join me in warmly welcoming Minister Butler to the stage.
Well, thank you, Jenny, so much for coming here and for emceeing today's event and for agreeing to tell your powerful story. Can I acknowledge, as Jenny has, that we're meeting on the lands of the Ngunnawal and Ngambri people and pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. And can I thank you all for coming here? A couple of people have said thanks for coming. Well, I work just down the corridor, so it's pretty easy for me to come here. It's a little early, but it's pretty easy for me to come here. I've talked to kids from New Zealand, from Perth, and everywhere in between. So to the families, to the service providers, and particularly to the children, thank you for coming here. I often say at these events, we get a power of reports through our office to read and digest, and they're important, but there is nothing like meeting people and talking to them about their personal stories. So thank you all for coming. I'm joined today by Rebecca White, who's the Assistant Minister for Health, who's from Tasmania. Ed Husick is here from Sydney, Gordon Reid from the Central Coast in New South Wales, Susan Templeman from the Blue Mountains and the Hawkesbury, Anne Ruston, the Shadow Minister, I think you'll be hearing from South Australia. The great state of South Australia is here, and I know other people will be coming through or meeting with you over the course of today if they didn't already yesterday. And we're also joined by Ambassador Suzuki, so thank you. The partnership between Shepherd and Japan is a really important one, and thank you, Ambassador, for coming to these events without fail and continuing to build the great relationship we have between our two nations. This is such a highlight of the parliamentary calendar. I was saying to one of the organisers, we're usually in the theatre, which is bigger, but this is actually a little bit more intimate and relaxed. So this is a terrific change to what is a real highlight for all of us to come and hear from some incredible, articulate young Australians who frankly put those of us who try to make a living and do a job of public speaking to shame. I've spoken to every one of them and said, are you nervous? And every one of them has said, no, like with this quizzical look on their face. Why would I be nervous? I'm just public speaking in front of Australia's parliamentarians. What's there to be nervous about? But it's a great opportunity to celebrate how far we've come. More than 10 years ago, I was in this room, I think, with Graham Clark and a bunch of others celebrating, I think then the 30th anniversary of the first implant. And we were there with the fellow who'd got it 30 years earlier, and we watched a film of him having the implant switched on, and it resembled a small motor vehicle on his head. He'd been deaf since birth, and he was, I can't remember how old, in his 30s, had a couple of kids. And when it got switched on, the first thing he heard was, excuse me, the sound of his two children fighting. And he just burst into tears. And it was, you know, we go to a lot of things in this building. It was a moment that stuck with me ever since. And cochlear, a proud Australian invention that Dig and his company are now exporting to the rest of the world, is just one very significant highlight of decades of progress that we've made here. Technology, the universal newborn screening program or hearing test that was started when we were last in government, the ability to refer to Hearing Australia, which is a great, you know, Australian invention after World War II, when so many men came back with noise-induced hearing loss from artillery, but also the hearing loss that flowed from the rubella epidemic, and the extraordinary organisations that come together under the umbrella of First Voice, some of which have been around for decades and decades, providing care and support. And that's why the theme of today, the power of my team, is just so apt. It really is, because what we've seen through this progress is just different organisations, government, non-government, commercial organisations like Cochlear, coming together with one sacred mission, which is to support particularly children, but others with hearing loss, to build wonderful contributing lives in this amazing nation. And so to have you come here to celebrate that is a real highlight of our calendar. But we also recognise there's more to do. And so over the last few years, we've tried to fill some of the gaps in that service support that I've talked about with new Shepherd Centres in Hobart and Launceston and Oran Park in southwest Sydney, and support for the digital hub to get to those people who can't visit centres. That's working terrifically well. We're also, this year, we've endorsed a new framework, new guidelines for the newborn screening to make sure that that's up to date. And we're in the process, in partnership with First Voice organisations, in developing new standards for paediatric cochlear implant services to make sure that the terrible stories we heard, particularly from Queensland and South Australia, aren't repeated, and we have the best possible standards for implants at the earliest stage of life. So we know there's always room for improvement, and I know that the organisations that have brought us all together here today, Cochlear and many others besides, are constantly coming to this building, urging us, pushing the envelope to do even better than I think we have already done, and we're determined to partner with you to do that. But I do want to say, as much as this is celebration, as much as we're going to hear from some incredibly articulate, courageous young Australians, we also know it's not easy. We also know that families have big adjustments to make, and really just bring their love and their energy to ensure that particularly children who are born with hearing loss get the best start in life, and then the best opportunities through what we hope will be a long, healthy, contributing lifetime. And so this is also an opportunity as parliamentarians for us to thank you, to recognise you, to pay tribute to the love and the energy that you give to your children, and for us to see what wonderful children you are raising. So welcome to Canberra. Thank you for coming. I'm not able to stay for the entire event, but I wish you all the very best for the rest of the morning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Butler. I know those thoughts were very genuine, and I agree with you. This is one of the best examples of what we want to see, not just in Australia, but everywhere. That integration of government, business, commercial innovation, community, families, at all levels. So I think we're doing a wonderful job. All right, so I want to move on. I want to welcome to the stage Senator Honourable Anne Ruston. It's a pleasure to invite you to the stage because you have a deep understanding too of health and disability, and particularly around policy, and a strong commitment to ensuring that these services reach everyone in the community, the cities and regional areas. Thank you, Anne. I welcome you up to the stage.
Thank you very much, Jenny, and can I acknowledge all my colleagues, particularly Mark, who just addressed us, and can I associate myself with the remarks that Mark just made. Can I also acknowledge my colleague, Maria Kovacic, who's here too. But in associating myself with Mark's comments, I want to make sure that you all understand in this room that we fight like cat and dog in public. You know, on principle, half the time we disagree with each other when we don't actually disagree with each other. But when it comes to something as important as today, and talking about making sure that we give the very best start to our young Australians who are born without hearing, there is not a cigarette paper, as politically incorrect as a cigarette paper might be. There is not a whisker between Mark and I with what we want to make sure that we work together so that we can make sure that you have the best possible start in life. So thank you to the Minister for his remarks. I haven't had the chance to actually have spoken to many of the young people in the room, but that you are the main reason we are here. And can I just let you all know that there is nothing more powerful than your voice. And I know the power of voice is something that you use as a way of communicating to the world the importance of what you do, but it's actually the power of the individual when they come here to Canberra. There's nothing more empowering to us than to see and speak to you. We can read all the reports in the world, we can see all the things that we see on television, but when you turn up with your families and you tell your individual stories, and I know you're saying you're not terrified. I'm still terrified when I speak, and I've been doing it for 13 years. So the fact that you, at the age of 5, 6, 7, are prepared to stand up here and tell your stories, I can't tell you or your parents just how incredibly powerful that is in making sure that those of us in this building hear your story and understand what you need from us to make sure that you have the lives that you deserve to have and that we deserve to give you. Can I also acknowledge Ambassador Suzuki? It's a very close relationship with Japan, and nothing could be closer than a relationship to make sure that our children can hear, so it's fantastic for you to be here as well. Can I just a big shout out to every other person in the room that supports the community, that supports our young children. The old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It obviously takes a very, very powerful, strong and well-experienced village to raise a child who was born with a hearing impairment or hearing loss. So there are so many organisations in this room that work so hard to make sure that we have got that community that delivers for you. So can I also acknowledge the time and effort that has been put in by many in this room in investing in me to get me up to speed, to understand your stories. One of the most fun mornings I had was sitting on the floor at the Shepherd Centre out here in Canberra and playing with the young children, some of them very, very young children, and just seeing the absolute joy on their faces when they hear sound. Those of us that were born with full hearing take completely for granted hearing sound, but to see the incredible impact that actually hearing sound had on the lives of these little ones was something that I will never forget. So thank you very much. And also can I acknowledge particularly a giant in terms of delivering outcomes for children around the world, and that is Cochlear. I mean, an incredible organisation, a household name in Australia, and so thank you so much for your continued, not only your research and investment into the technologies that support hearing, but also your investment in the communities that support them and your continued sponsorship of events such as this. So anyway, I also add my welcome to you all to Parliament. I'm very much looking forward to, as I'm sitting in my rocking chair as I'm getting older, hopefully seeing one of you young people who are about to speak standing up in the place where Mark and I stand in this place, because it will be fabulous to one day see one of you as a politician standing in this place because you'd been elected here so that you can tell your story and make sure that hearing loss is something that is absolutely mainstreamed into our vernacular here in Canberra, so that we never forget what we need to do to make sure that we make your lives better. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Anne, for those comments. I really understand now that you've been behind the story of hearing, the hearing journey, for a long time. So I appreciate everything you just said. All right, I want to now bring you to the main event, which is the children's speech segment. I am going to stay here on stage, but I want you to see that this is the absolute heart of today, the reason we're all here. It's time to hear these incredible young speakers. Each child you meet has worked closely with their family, their clinicians and their teachers to prepare a speech that reflects their journey, that tells their story, and to do it with confidence and especially their voice. So their voice reflects what they can hear, and they can only hear because of these little miraculous gadgets, as I call them. Their stories remind us that what's possible if you start early, and you must start early because there's a window in your brain that receives language at a very early stage. It closes at about 5 to 7 years of age. You must get in early. So let's begin. I'd like to welcome our first speaker, our smallest speaker, Liam Marotti from Can Do For Kids, South Australia, and his listening and spoken language therapist, Molly, to the stage. I think you better sit here. I think we won't see him.
We'll just pass it back and forth. You ready? What's your name?
My name's Liam Marotti.
And how old are you?
12.
Tell us about your family. Who lives at your house?
Mum, Dad, and my big brother Josh.
And what is your favorite color?
Blue and green.
And what's your favorite sport?
Football.
And your favorite team?
Crows, but they did not win.
And what's your favorite animal?
Dog.
What type of dogs do you like?
Golden retriever.
And who is your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man and Flash.
Where do you go to school?
From Rostreville College.
And what do you like doing at school?
I like playing with my friends and making and drawing.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
I like to be a police with my dad.
When did you get your cochlear implant?
I was old.
Say that again, Liam.
When I was old.
Yes, just last year. And what stickers do you have on your cochlear implant?
Spider-Man.
And who else in your family has a cochlear implant?
Mummy.
Do you have any friends with cochlear implants?
Yes, from Candy Round Kids.
Yeah, from Bright Start Group. And who are some of the people that are part of the team that have helped you with your cochlear implant?
So Mum helps me at home, and Molly helps me at speech, and Nicola helps me at school.
And how have all the team at Can Do for Kids helped you?
With my hearing aid and my cochlear, and now I speak, and now I can go to school. Thank you for everybody that listening.
I will now pass the microphone to the next speaker, Theo, who joins us from the Blue Mountains in New South Wales.
You might need that. You
Hi, my name is Theo and I'm 11 years old. I was born profoundly deaf and got cochlear implants when I was only 6 months old. While other babies were chewing on toys, I was getting Bluetooth installed in my head. So basically, I was part cyborg before I could even sit up. For preschool, I went to Next Sense. That's where I met other kids just like me. At first, the doctors thought the cochlear implant wouldn't work very well for me, as I had malformed cochlears. But with lots of hard work and lots of speech therapy and occupational therapy I could hear, understand, and talk well, to the point now I don't know how to turn off my voice, even when I'm asleep. I'm in Year 5 at a mainstream school, and I love to read and perform. Currently, I really want to be an actor. I love drama, on stage, not in real life. I've been in an episode of ABC's TV show, Good Game Spawn Squad, and I've done a couple of photo shoots. I also really enjoy gaming and Lego. One teaches strategy, the other teaches pain. Have you ever stepped on a Lego brick before? Early intervention made all this possible. It gave me access to sound, speech, and the confidence to stand here today and tell you my story. It didn't just help me hear, it helped me be heard. So, if you're wondering whether early support for deaf kids works, just take a look at me. I talk, I act, I game, I build, and I don't have a lock switch. I'm just getting started.
I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Nate. Would Nate like to come to the stage? Is that right? Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nate Leafting. I'm from Auckland, New Zealand, and from May 5th this year, I've had cochlear implants. When I was 6 years old, my parents noticed I wasn't hearing well. I had some tests and received hearing aids right away. However, the hearing aids only worked well for 6 years, as my hearing got progressively worse over time. I found out earlier this year that I needed bilateral cochlear implants. I've always been interested in maths, and even got selected to go to Mathics, a nationwide maths competition. It's a team-based event where communication is key. This can be difficult if you can't hear your team properly. I've been to one Mathics with hearing aids and one with CIs. I was shocked at how much easier it was to hear my team and work with them on our answers with my new CIs. We came in 4th place out of the whole district, and we were all very proud of our teamwork. I don't remember much from before hearing aids, but the sounds I do remember sounded the same when I got hearing aids. Now with CIs, it doesn't sound robotic like I thought it would. It just sounds like normal, regular hearing. It feels nice to connect with others easily instead of asking them to repeat themselves every 5 seconds. I was even treated like a celebrity when I returned to school, with everyone keen to know more. Technology alone isn't enough. This couldn't have happened without all the good work from my support team. The Hearing House has been amazing. Speech-language therapy to help with my communication has been a lot of fun, and the audiologists have adjusted the equipment to match perfectly back to normal hearing. Mum says the whole family are so happy and relieved that my CIs have worked this well, and that I've adjusted so quickly and completely. It means so much to me to share my thoughts here today and show my appreciation for the huge effort of my support team. The technology, the surgery, the speech-language therapy, the audiologist, the Hearing House, and my family. I cannot thank you enough. To parents of kids who are newly diagnosed, don't worry. Their technology and support is amazing now. Your child can do well and be happy. With early intervention, they can thrive, just like I have. Thank you for listening.
Nate, that was beautifully said, and you have the most beautiful eyelashes. All right. So, I want to thank all 3 boys, Liam, Theo, and Nate, so far. We've got some more to hear from as well. So, this is just an incredible start to this morning. I think you can see the confidence that's in those children, the fact that they can hear so well and they speak so well as a result of that, and it really personifies the power of speech, which is why we're here today. So it's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Dr. Alicia Davis. She's the Chief Executive Officer of the Shepherd Centre and the co-chair of First Voice. So Dr. Davis, Alicia has dedicated her career to ensuring that every deaf child has the support, access and opportunity in order for them to thrive, not just survive, thrive. So please join me in welcoming Alicia to the stage.
Thank you, everyone, and what an extraordinary morning it's been so far. Our speakers, our children's speakers, you are a very hard act to follow, believe me. We take second stage behind you today. Our children and families who are here today, you are filling this room with joy and courage and hope, and every story we hear is a powerful reminder of the work that we do at First Voice Centres and why it matters so deeply. As most of you will know, First Voice is the national alliance of all of the specialist providers that support deaf children to listen and to speak and to thrive. And without these providers, we know that thousands of children across Australia and New Zealand wouldn't be able to access the expert care that they need. At First Voice, we are that bridge between diagnosis and possibility and provide that team that surrounds each child and family with the tools and the knowledge and the support to unlock that language and connection that we know is so important. When we listen to these young voices, what we see is what's possible when the right support arrives early, as Jenny was saying, is consistent, and it surrounds the child and family to ensure that they get what they need when they get it. Thank you, Minister Butler, who's had to leave today, Senator Ruston as well, and will be soon joined by Senator McAllister. Their continued commitment to hearing healthcare and supporting outcomes in the Australian ecosystem is so important and so valued. I also want to acknowledge those in the room that support the ministers and senators behind the scenes. Your advice, coordination and care play a crucial role in continuing to better our systems for children with hearing loss here in Australia. A few months ago, Chris Wren and I, as co-chairs of First Voice, had the great pleasure of joining our colleagues over the ditch in New Zealand for the Power of Connection event. And it's such a powerful reminder that across our countries we share a common vision, a world where every child who is deaf or hard of hearing can access sound, language and opportunity from the very beginning. And that collaboration across borders makes our vision stronger, and together we can build systems and learn from each other. Before I continue, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the room in which we're gathered here today, the Tagney Alcove. This space is named in honour of Senator Dorothy Tagney. Born in Perth in 1907, she made history as the first woman elected to the Senate for Western Australia, serving from 1943 to 1968. And renowned for her eloquence and conviction, Senator Tagney used her voice to shape Australia's future. It feels especially fitting that we celebrate the next generation of remarkable voices that have such power, and the children that we hear from today to unlock doors and reach every child's potential. Your courage, determination and achievements carry forward her legacy of using the power of speech to change lives. Early access to sound really does change lives, and we know that the earlier a child can hear, the more their brain can develop during those critical first years. Babies with typical hearing start to hear about 4 weeks into gestation. So that's about a year before any deaf child will start to listen with hearing aids or cochlear implants. And those children speaking today, and we've acknowledged it, and so many others around Australia and New Zealand have had to work tirelessly to catch up. When a child is born deaf, the sounds that they hear through their hearing aid and cochlear implant, they do sound different, and they're not the sounds that you or I know to start with. So there is a process that takes extraordinary effort and work to make that happen. That is weekly sessions with their team, with their clinicians, their audiologists, their counsellors, to give them every waking moment at home, teaching their families the skills so they can use all of those opportunities as listening and language practice moments. Families learn these skills, and although it's relentless, inspiring and rewarding, it does change lives. And that's why we talk about the power of my team here today. But as we celebrate today, we must also recognise that we continue to want to do better, and that the system supporting these families still has its challenges. We know parents find it difficult to navigate between different systems, the NDIS, hearing healthcare systems that don't always connect. And at First Voice, we are working harder than ever to maintain those high quality outcomes. And we do this while facing mounting pressures to build skills and capabilities in allied health professionals, and the need to be efficient, effective is more critical than ever. Most concerning is what we are seeing though, is those foundational listening and language skills for deaf children as they start school are beginning to decline. And those skills are once our most reliable indicators of future success. And these challenges with the system are not insurmountable, but they do require us to act together, and there's a real opportunity in the changing landscape at the moment for us to do that well and do it now. We don't want families to have to become experts in bureaucracy to access the expert care they need, and we want to ensure and create a system that matches a child's developmental trajectory and not the other way around. Early, equitable access to supports we know isn't just the right thing to do, it's the strategic thing to do, as it does save so many longer costs and impacts later on. We have one of the best hearing health ecosystems in the world, from newborn hearing screening, Hearing Australia, and its national services and support, the incredible innovation of our industry partners like Cochlear and the specialist therapist providers who build that evidence base that we rely on. And together, this network empowers every deaf child to hear, communicate and thrive. Across the First Voice network, we are committed to working closely with government, the NDIA, the Department of Health and our sector partners to find solutions and to continue to improve the system for children with hearing loss. And I'll finish by saying our goal is simple: a coordinated, family-friendly pathway that empowers every child, wherever they live, to reach their potential as early as possible. And we're seeing traction beyond our borders, so countries globally are looking to our world-recognised system here in Australia. Through international partnerships like that with Shizuoka Hospital in Japan, we're sharing our expertise and sharing what we know and what we've learnt and building local capability. I'd like to warmly acknowledge His Excellency Mr. Kazuhiro Suzuki, Ambassador to Japan, for joining us today. Again, your presence is a symbol of that deep collaboration and knowledge that we share. One of our young speakers who will be joining us very shortly, Oliver Akari, recently represented our Australian community over in Japan at the World Expo in Osaka at the Australian Embassy, showing the world what can happen when early access, technology and teamwork all come together. Children, you are the proof of what's possible when the system works, and it reminds us it's not just about statistics or reports, but it's about children finding their voices, families finding confidence, and communities finding that connection. To every parent, clinician and supporter here today, thank you. You are the reason that these young people stand so proudly before us. Finally, thank you to my fellow co-chair Chris Wren, my CEO colleagues on the First Voice board and Donna Edmond for your steadfast leadership and valued partnership. It's a privilege to stand behind and beside people so committed to ensuring every child has the opportunity to listen and speak. And now it is my very great pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Oliver Akari. Please join me in joining and welcoming Oliver to the stage. Come on up, Oliver.
That's a good idea.
Hi everyone, my name is Ollie and I'm 9 years old. I feel so lucky to be given this opportunity to share my experiences with you all today. I attend Marion Public School and I am in Year 3. I love running, bike riding, computer games, athletics, watching movies, and I wear bilateral cochlear implants. I can't remember my life without having hearing technology, so it feels normal to me to have my implants. I forget sometimes that I even wear them. My cochlear implants are so awesome. In fact, if things get too loud, just with one swish of my fingers, instant silence. At school, and when I'm with my friends, I am just like any other kid. My teacher and my friends help by looking at me when they are talking. I sit near the front of the class, and my teacher wears a mini mic so I can hear every word clearly. The sound goes straight to my implant so I can hear every word she is saying because the noise travels from the microphone to my implants. It's pretty cool. Everyone in my team, my family, my teachers, my friends, my cochlear implant and the Shepherd Centre all work together to help me do my best at school and at sport or at home. They've supported me to learn, to listen, speak and do all the things I love. I was so excited last year when I received the award for consistent improvement and dedication in all key learning areas at our end of year school assembly. I love to play sport. My favourite is athletics, in particular long distance running, because I can just go straight and focus on the finishing line. Last year I broke the zone athletics competition 800-meter record that has stood since 2006. I also raced at the regional athletics championships in the AU2 category. This year I have qualified for the 800 state finals. When I listen to music and watch videos, I love that I can connect to my devices through Bluetooth. It makes the sound much clearer and I don't need headphones like other kids. The Shepherd Centre has been a big part of my team since I was little. They've taught me so much and helped me feel confident, always cheering on me and helping me grow my skills. They also have introduced us to a community of other families, which I have been a big part of our lives too. In my sessions at the Shepherd Centre, we used to play a game where every time I got the 7 ling sounds correct, I could feed a little hamburger into a toy pig dressed as a chef, and when it got too full, its belt would pop. I also get to help with my own device remapping, which is pretty amazing. My mum and my dad always tell me they're proud of me, but they also remind me to be proud of myself. Be proud for working hard, trying new things, and never giving up. I think that's what the power of my team really means. Everyone helping me to be the best version of me. I'm so proud of what I achieved so far, like speaking in Osaka, Japan with the Shepherd Centre June this year. And I've got big dreams for my future. I would love to be an engineer when I get older, and I know my team's always there supporting me. Thank you for listening to my journey as a 9-year-old with bilateral cochlear implants and for giving me this incredible opportunity to talk at Parliament House.
You're amazing. You're amazing. That was fantastic. Okay. We've got the next speaker is another Oliver. And this time it's Oliver Webb. I'd like to welcome Oliver up to the table, the stage, please. We wanted each child to introduce the other child, but I think they were so relieved to get off the stage. All right, Oliver W., would you like to step up?
Hi, my name is Oliver Webb. I am 10 years old and I've travelled all the way from Perth with my dad to be here today. I was fortunate to be born at a time in Australia when there was good cochlear technology and early support of families of children with hearing loss. I was born with a severe hearing loss, and having Pendred syndrome meant my hearing could get worse. 6 weeks of age, I had my hearing aids, and by 3.5 years, both my cochlear implants. I'm the same age today as the first child in the world to receive a cochlear implant 40 years ago. Getting my cochlear implant early meant I could develop my listening and speaking so I can be like any other hearing child. My family and TSH partnered up and they became my team. I have very supportive parents who also happen to be the senior footy coaches. As you can imagine, they're tough yet positive on the footy field. At TSH, they were being great at being coached in auditory verbal therapy. They were being coached on how to develop my listening and language at the very start of my hearing journey. I play basketball. I'm a pretty fast runner. My granddad is a running coach. A family team full of coaches, what an advantage. You guessed it, we're pretty competitive too. There are unique benefits of using cochlear technology. Firstly, I can Bluetooth my iPad and stream phone calls directly to my cancers, so no AirPods needed for me. Another advantage is when they're on the footy field. My parents used the Roger mic to Bluetooth their footy strategies directly to cochlear field. I had all the tactics. I told you competitive. Lastly, my little brother becomes super annoying. I can take off my candles for off some peace and quiet. Hallelujah. I am now part of the TSH Outpost School Support Program, which supports students from Kinder to the Year 12 within schools in Perth. I am honoured to share my story at Parliament House today to advocate for kids like me and the families to have the same learning opportunities and to develop their skills for the future. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Thank you.
Oh wait, yeah. I will now pass the microphone to the next speaker, Edward, who joins us from Queensland.
Well done, Oliver. So, we want to welcome Edward Mewing to the stage now. Thank you, Edward.
Good morning, distinguished guests. It is a privilege to be here. My name is Edward Mewing. I'm 10 years old and I am a proud product of the Hear and Say Centre in Brisbane. I will be talking about my journey since birth. It took my parents about a week to figure out I was deaf. I was born with profound bilateral hearing loss. This is a fancy way of saying I was born completely deaf. My mum remembers that when I was a couple of days old, my older sister and my older brother brought me every toy instrument they could find and put it on my lap as gifts. Little did they know, I couldn't hear a thing. As soon as we knew about my deafness, I was surrounded by amazing support, including from the team at Hear and Say Centre. I received my cochlear implants when I was only 10 months old. When I was very young, I remember going to Hear and Say at least once a week, and the atmosphere was great, more like a kindy than a health centre. I remember going to playgroup, reading books, and visiting audiologists. Everyone was so kind. I just remember having lots of fun. Today I realised that I was learning how to listen and talk using my cochlear implants. People always ask what it's like being deaf, but the fact I can't give you a comparison is the amazing thing. One thing you should know about me is that I absolutely love reading books. I wonder if that started because I spent so many hours reading books at Hear and Say. It is also interesting to think if you can't hear, you can't get read to by your parents. That's how we all learn to read in the first place. Being deaf has not stopped me from doing anything. I love to play basketball and water polo. I love going to the beach. I'm also learning how to play the flute at school. I honestly don't know if I would be better off if I wasn't deaf. My little brother even said the other day, "You are so lucky to be deaf. You get to speak in Canberra." That shows that I am no different to anyone else. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Well done. Well done, Edward. So I want to say thank you to all those speakers today. I know they were all little boys. That was simply by chance. And they've all got amazing eyelashes. I don't know what we're feeding them. I hope the girls are doing well too. So each of you have shown amazing confidence getting up here. I think it was Anne Ruston who said that she still felt nervous after 13 years. I still feel nervous after 50 years. So confidence, courage, and sharing a story like that, a personal story, is what is the heart of today. So you've reminded us that what matters is family, professionals, and the technology all coming together at the same time, and the results really are life-changing. So now we're going to move towards the next segment. It's called the Fireside Chat, minus the fire. And that's going to be between me and the CEO of Cochlear, who is Dig Howard. So I'd like to welcome Dig to the stage. The theme for this discussion is hearing education and the power of the team. It's a conversation that I will take place with Dig, where I share some of the journey that I've been on living with hearing loss. I forgot to mention earlier that I'm an academic. I'm a nutrition scientist. You may have heard of the glycemic index of foods. So my students called me GI Jenny, and I'm retired now, but I'm still doing lots of research because I'm so passionate about what I do, and I can only do it with the benefit of cochlear implants. So it's now my pleasure to introduce you to Dig. Dig is the president of Cochlear. He leads the global company that's founded on Professor Graham Clark's groundbreaking Australian invention, something we are all so proud of. It was a world first, and it's transformed the life of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. It's also an Australian success story, and if only there were more of these stories. So the cochlear implant that Australian recipients wear is designed and manufactured right here in Australia before being shared with the rest of the world. And Dig is a passionate advocate for the innovation and access and education. And all our little ones mentioned the Bluetooth technology. I'm going to mention that too, because it is just magnificent. It really does bring you sound that is as clear as a bell, listening to podcasts and phone calls, things that used to torture me. So under the leadership of Dig, Cochlear continues to ensure that children and adults with hearing loss are getting the best access to world-leading devices and the support they need to thrive. So thank you. I'm going to sit down with Dig now. So.
Thanks, Jenny, and it's great to be here. And wasn't it fantastic to hear from those 6 young Australians and New Zealander today? This is my favourite day of the year. It's better than Christmas today, to be able to hear from these children. But well done to all of you. And Jenny, now we'd like to explore your story just a bit further, and starting with your hearing loss journey.
Okay, I think if I was born today, I would have been picked up at birth, and that I would have been given hearing aids from the start, but I wasn't. I grew up without anyone knowing that I had a hearing loss until I realised myself at the age of about 14. I was having a sleepover. My friends were with me in my bedroom, and one of them said to me, "Your mother's calling." And I thought, that's odd. Why couldn't I hear my mother calling? So I mentioned it to my parents. My dad was a GP, my mother was a nurse. They had not picked up the hearing loss, but it was there. And I was prescribed hearing aids, which I refused to wear until I was about 20. And then I was forced to wear them, or I couldn't have a job. So my first cochlear implant came at 46, and that was a long time coming. It was far too late, and I wish that every adult had the opportunity to have a cochlear implant much earlier.
And how much difference has it made to you, and how quickly did you notice the difference?
The ear that was implanted at the age of 46 had been deaf for 10 years. It had been totally deaf after some sort of dental surgery. And it was a slow start. It took a few weeks for me to recognise my husband's voice. But what I noticed immediately was that a hearing aid in one ear and a cochlear implant in the other ear was like 1 + 1 = 3. There was some sort of synergism. And so I wore them religiously. And by 6 months, I was sailing. I felt so much more confident. And I was embarrassed when I had hearing aids, embarrassed to be to pick up wrong words. with the technology of cochlear implants, suddenly I was so proud of what I had, and I wanted to tell everybody that I was deaf. And in fact, I played tricks on people. I would talk to people I haven't met before for 15 minutes or so, and we'd have a lovely conversation, and then I'd say, do you know you're talking to someone who's deaf? And their eyes would widen. And then I'd have to excuse them because I could see they were a bit embarrassed that they hadn't picked it up. And then I'd tell them about the Australian technology. So,
fantastic. And the theme today is the power of the team. Did you have a team around you when you got your implants?
Well, I had my surgeon, who was Professor Bill Gibson, who came to Australia to do the first implants in babies. I think he was the first surgeon to do implants in babies as young as 9 months of age. So I felt very...
Yeah, certainly a pioneer in cochlear implants in Australia, Bill Gibson.
So that I thought, if he can do a baby, he can do me. And I felt confident that the surgery would be done well. Secondly, I had an audiologist at the time it was called something else, but it's now NextSense. And Monica Bray was my audiologist, and she was just the most wonderful support person. Also, what they would do was connect you with someone of similar status, similar professional background, who also had a cochlear implant earlier. And they held your hand. They were the people that said, oh, you can wash your hair anyway, even though the doctor says no. And they would send you flowers and just would tell you things like, don't worry, Jenny, it'll be 1,000 times better than a hearing aid. So all these people around you just gave you the support you needed.
I'm going to ask a bit of a long question now on early intervention and communication of scientific research. So we've seen and heard today about the benefits of early intervention for children, and that's come about over years because of really good research done in part by members of the First Voice to demonstrate the benefit of early intervention. For adults, we don't have early intervention, and we don't have that system anywhere in the world. And there's increasing evidence for healthy ageing, the links between hearing loss and cognition. A randomised control study being run in the US by Professor Frank Lin, looking at hearing loss and cognition, and study in Korea recently showing people with hearing loss, untreated hearing loss, having at least twice the incidence of dementia as people with untreated hearing loss. You are the pioneer of the glycemic index, but not only pioneered the research, but also the public awareness of nutrition and GI. And I think we're all advocates for hearing loss in this room, but what can we do to help communicate the evidence as it grows for adults and to build that momentum towards early intervention for adults?
That's a really good question. Early intervention applies just as much to adults that are losing their hearing as they get older, and many of us do, just through the fact that we're exposed to a very noisy world, and the hearing cells in the ear begin to fail. So something like 1 in 2 people over 75 have a significant hearing loss, which interferes with not just their social life, not just with their financial ability, but this cognition that Dig is talking about. If you don't use it, you lose it. So if you don't hear, you lose the ability. Language is something that stimulates the brain, and if you're by yourself, you say no to social occasions because you're embarrassed, because you can't hear, because it's just not worth it, it's too stressful, then your cognition will begin to fail. And dementia is just not a problem for the person involved, it involves the whole family, and it is so sad. So I am living with he doesn't live with me, but next door is my father. He's 102 years old, and I'd say he needed an implant 30 years ago. So early intervention. But he thought, he was under the impression that he would lose the ability to hear music. And it's a very common misinterpretation. Cochlear has made sure that we enjoy music. I love music. I love playing the piano. I love listening directly to my ears or whatever. I go to the ballet, I go to the Sydney Opera House. Music makes me swoon, all right? So we need to get that misconception wiped. So early intervention for adults. I think a lot of people who are prescribed hearing aids are being prescribed the wrong device, frankly. Cochlear implants won't fail with time. The hearing aid will fail with time because it is progressive. Your loss is progressive. It is a much better investment if you give people, adults who are moderately, severely deaf, cochlear implants rather than hearing aids. We need to get that message across, not just for families' sake, but the whole economy, because dementia costs money, hearing loss will cost money, but it will come back to you 1,000 times more than the $1 that you put into a cochlear implant.
Thanks, Jenny. I can see how you such a great job of communicating glycemic index and the importance of great nutrition. Perhaps to wrap up, Jenny, you're a fantastic example of someone who's lived their life with hearing loss and been extraordinarily successful. To the children we heard today and to their families, what would you want to say to them looking forward for their lives? And we saw them have made a fantastic start today and great ambition and success already. What would you say to them to confidence into the future?
Just 4 words. Let your light shine. Don't put any stops on your children. Be optimistic, be supportive, encourage them to do whatever they want to do. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Jenny. Great to be here with you.
Thank you. Okay. Dick, I want you to come back to the stage, please. We have a presentation of certificates and you've got a job to do. So, this is the presentation. I want each of the children who've worked so hard on their speeches, the privilege of coming to the stage, to Canberra, to show you how confident, courageous they are. I'd like to also welcome to the stage Senator, the Honourable Jenny McAllister, who's the National Disability Insurance Scheme Minister. She's going to give you a short address and assist with the presentation. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And I'm not going to give you a short address. I won't subject you to that, but I did really just want to say how very grateful I am to be part of today's event. And I'm sorry that I missed the speeches. I had another engagement earlier this morning, but I did have the chance last week, I think, to hear Oliver's speech. He gave me a preview at the Shepherd Centre, and I had a terrific visit at the Shepherd Centre. I was ably guided through the facility by Oliver, and I got to meet a number of the children and young people that are working with the Shepherd Centre there. It was such a wonderful day for me to meet you, Oliver, and your mum. And I really just wanted to acknowledge and thank you for your hospitality and the role you played in talking to me about what you'd been able to achieve there. So thank you so much. Jenny, lovely to hear your conversation too with Dig, genuinely inspirational, and to hear you reflect so clearly and directly about your own journey was a real privilege for me. So thank you.
Thank you.
And we should get on with the certificate presentation.
Thank you, Jenny, very much. All right. So, in order, I would like all our speakers to come up near the stage, please. The first is Liam. Please come up, Liam, Theo, Nate, Oliver A and Oliver W, and then Edward. We'd like to present each of you with a certificate, and we want you to stay on the stage after you've been presented.
Terrific. Okay, so our first certificate.
I'm gonna reorganise you guys. Can I get you all to come over here? We're gonna.
Good job, Samantha.
We're gonna reverse what just happened.
I think it's you first, and then I hand it.
You're gonna read.
Great, terrific. Now we have a plan. This is very good. All right, so our first certificate is for Liam Marotti, who from Can Do Kids from South Australia. Liam, welcome to the stage. Please come forward.
Congratulations, sweetheart.
Great job. Big clap. Big clap for Liam. All right, we're now going to welcome Theo Carsten Draver from Next Sense back to the stage. Theo, come on up.
Congratulations, Theo. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, good job. Can I have a handshake too? Good job. Well done. All right, the next recipient is Nate Lifting from Hearing House, all the way from New Zealand. Nate, welcome. Welcome to Australia, and thank you for being here.
Congratulations, especially on your presentation.
All right. Oliver, we meet again. Come up to the stage. Lovely to see you, sweetie.
Congratulations, Oliver. You did a wonderful job.
Oliver Webb. Come on up.
Shake hands.
Good job, Oliver.
Well done.
And our final recipient is Edwin Buing from Here and Say. Come on up.
Well done, Edward. Turn around, we want some photos.
Yeah, this way.
Special occasion.
And then we're all gonna get up and have a photo together. So can you stand up?
Oh, Edward.
Everyone's good. And I want you to hold up your certificate, excited.
Big smiles all around.
Perfect. Nice job.
Yeah, great job. So, all right, I'm going to hand back to you. Thank you for having me. It's really
All
lovely
right,
to
thank
be
you,
able
Jen.
to
It's really nice to meet
beautiful
you.
to meet you, and just actually a real privilege. I really liked you being on stage.
Thank you for all you do. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage to close our special event today is Chris Wren. Chris is the CEO of Next Sense, and he's going to give you a official closing.
Thank you very much. My very esteemed co-chair put me last, which means that you're all not interested in hearing from an adult at all at this point. Jenny, you're incredible. I mean, it's great to acknowledge Graham Clark's pioneering work that's been taken to great heights by Cochlear, but you really have changed the world. I go back 30 years with Jenny, so pre-implant even, and it's been amazing to see the journey, and you really have actually changed the lives of people throughout the world in the same way the cochlear implant has. The story of her father was actually an interesting one because it reminds me of a 95-year-old who went forward and got a cochlear implant. And it was interesting because she kept on failing her driving test. The instructor would go, turn left here, she would go straight ahead, turn right, straight ahead. And when we asked her why driving was so important at 95, she said, because I deliver Meals on Wheels to the old people. So it really does change lives at all levels. We probably don't need the 10-year warranty on the 95s, but we'll leave that alone. Can I say congratulations to the wonderful young speakers today? We're blown away. It is very rare to have all boys. That's just sheer coincidence or bad planning, I'm not sure which one, but they were absolutely sensational. They really do inspire us to do more and more and more. And the power of speech never fails to inspire. And I think today has also reminded us that at what's at stake. We know what can be achieved when everything works together, but we also know what will be compromised if they don't work together. The power of my team is evident, and behind every child and the confidence in which they present is a network of families, clinicians, educators, researchers, donors, technologists, policymakers, innovators, and the community. It really is a network of great people that all work side by side to actually help the children reach the potential. I'd like to particularly mention Minister Butler, Senator Rushton, and Dr. Mike Freelander, who have taken time out of their busy schedules to support this event and others, and these wonderful young Australians. Thank you also to the many MPs, senators, officials, ambassadors, representatives from Hearing Australia, the NDIA and the Department of Health today. Sorry, Shavoy, I know I go fast. And of course, thanks to Cochlear and Dig Howard. You really do make the best technology, the most reliable technology, and technology you can rely on for life. It really is incredible. It was great to hear you chat with Jenny today, Dig. Listening to Liam, Theo, Nate, and the two Olivers and Edward share their personal experiences of hearing loss and the life-changing impact of their cochlear implant technology when coupled with early support is truly powerful. And while Jenny's story is quite different as an adult, two tenets remain: access to technology and the benefits of teamwork. These stories are extraordinary, and these children are even more extraordinary. Providers are carrying a heavy administrative load today, and early intervention pathways are under pressure. We're beginning to see early warning signs, with children entering school at lower listening and language skills than ever before. That should concern us all in the room. But it's not a lack of technology. It's not a lack of expertise. The evidence is there. The evidence shows that the technology, when coupled with early, equitable access to support, delivers truly powerful outcomes. But to achieve these results, we know are possible. Families should never have to fight against access to this expert care. Funding must follow the need, not bureaucracy. And I guess that's the challenge that we're seeing now in organisations such as First Voice. We're putting a lot of money in addition to the funding that we get from the NDIS to make the outcomes possible. And that's under threat. Australia's been a long-standing pioneer in hearing health alongside the cochlear implant technology. We're world leaders in early detection, as we heard today, and intervention for hearing loss. However, the current Australia and global economic climate is creating those challenges. Without organisations like First Voice, who will be there to guide and support the deaf children and their family when they need us most? Our organisations are committed to holistic, wraparound support in partnerships with family and is unique and unparalleled on a world stage. This level has been evidence-based and the care delivers results which ensure every deaf child has the opportunity to reach their own potential. The level of support ensures a fair start for every child with hearing loss. On behalf of First Voice, I'd like to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to those who have made today possible: the ministers and shadow ministers, the parliamentarians, Dr. Mike Freelander, as I mentioned earlier. We look forward to the continued collaboration that supports the great work that we're doing and the role that the federal government plays in ensuring hearing loss is managed in the best possible way and funded appropriately. To our partners from Hearing Australia, the NDIA and the Department of Health, we thank you for all of your support. To Cochlear, our long-standing sponsor and proud Australian success story, thank you for the innovation that drives us. and thank you for your support of events like today. To our First Voice counterparts, to my colleague Dr. Alicia Davis, you are an exceptional co-chair. I really call her boss, but that's the way it goes, and she knows it. To Dr. Claire Green from the Hearing House in New Zealand, Michael Knightley from Hear and Say Queensland, to Carol from TSH, Lester from Can Do, and thanks to all of our international colleagues as well. Can I thank David Brady for his great work? I think he's just on the outside of the room at the moment in putting together today, and a special thanks to Samantha, who does an exceptional job of corralling us all in the right way. Finally, can I say, Professor Jenny Brand-Miller, you are exceptional as a chair. She doesn't just actually do these type of events, she actually chaired the Ministerial Standing Committee for Hearing Services in New South Wales and has been a great ambassador for the cochlear implant, working with organisations like ours to really advocate for those people in need. Together, we have seen what happens when care, technology and the community all unite. Now we must ensure the systems keeps pace with the children, and again, not the other way around. By working together, we can guarantee that every child, wherever they live, has the chance to learn, to listen, to speak, to communicate and thrive. Before we conclude, I invite all of today's guests to join the Power of Speech speakers and parliamentarians for photos. It's a wonderful opportunity to celebrate what's possible and the achievements and the partnerships that make them possible. Thank you for being part of the 2025 Power of Speech, and we look forward to seeing you all in 2026 next year. Thank you very much.
All right. Finish your breakfast, everybody. All that beautiful fruit. It's so good for you. Really, you should have fruit for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I promise you. It's good for the brain.